YouTube Nation, Maven TV, aka Me TV, aka take back what is yours. And what I mean is, guys, I'm so sick and tired of seeing this, man. I mean, we've got licensing agreements, software notices, you know, terms of service. All right, they're going to tell you what you can do with your product and what part of the product on the disc is yours and what's not yours. All right, when you buy it, you know, I'm just so sick and tired of this. And, you know, now they want to take away your basic rights. We've seen so many people, you know, oh, you can't sue us. And you can't do that, man. Like, I'll talk about that later, okay? But it goes to show you that all these companies, they just keep taking more and more away from you, stripping you of what you purchased. And it's starting to piss me off so much. And I have to ask you, gamers, why aren't you mad? Why are you okay with this? Why are you laying down saying, oh, well, it's a company, you got to do what it got to do? Why are you defending these companies? I don't understand this, and I have to talk about this, all right? Because I've seen it way too much as of late with you fucking fanboys, and you know what? You're not even gamers as far as I'm concerned. You shouldn't even be allowed to buy games. You know, at this point, they should do IQ tests before you decide to buy these products. You have to be kidding me. There's no way I can go online, read on a forum, and a person say, you know, hey, this is wrong, and they're saying all the right things, you know, this is wrong, according to the law, blah, 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 and they'll give you a whole rundown, and then a fanboy comes in, you're an idiot, you're wrong, this company is the greatest ever, you should back them because they work so hard, blah, blah, blah. You have to be kidding me. If that's the best you have, then don't even speak. And here's the problem I don't understand, because this only happens online. This doesn't happen in the real world. No, it don't happen in the real world. You can ask anybody in the real world. Go outside right now and ask a random person about a company. Hey, how do you feel about such and such? How do you feel about EA? You think they're gonna be like, oh, well, their practices are okay and it's okay and we can, you know, we can't do this and yeah, I would love to do this and have stuff stripped away from me and carry on. No one's gonna say that because nobody in real life backs companies that much. But this is all about getting your game. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't understand why it's okay for you to think it's okay just to lay down. Just to lay down. Like I said, we made these companies. They don't care about you. And if they don't care about you, why should you care about them? It's that simple. If I tell you, if I get in your face and say, I don't care about you, or call you out on here, guess what you're going to do? You're going to get mad at me. You're going to hit this like button. You're going to curse me out and say, well, you don't care about me. I don't care about you. Why don't you take the same stance with the companies? I don't understand this. Why is there some type of exclusion, some excuse for them? There isn't. Companies come and go, just like gamers come and go, companies come and go. Don't you understand that? Especially this generation, we've seen a lot of companies just shut down, haven't we? Or they're being bought out, or whatever the case may be. We've seen them come and go. And the only thing that we get all the time is what? What do we get? Arrogance. People being douchebags. I can't get one damn game without a developer being a douchebag, without some type of internal company politics going on, without some type of price gouging going on, whatever type of tactic. You have to be kidding me. We did not have these problems before. But yet, it's okay now for some reason. Have people just laid down, look, we've done it your way for so long. I don't understand this. It was, don't worry about DLC. It won't get that big. It won't become that big of a deal. Now we see it being a big deal. Oh, don't worry about this. You know, so we've seen people get accounts, you know, blocked just for having an opinion on a game by that company. What the hell's going on here? But, you know, it doesn't matter. Because no matter, I can sit here and talk about that till I'm blue in the face, and you still won't give a shit. You don't give a shit about your rights. You don't give a shit about anybody else but yourself. If all you're worried about is some damn game, you have to be kidding me. But yet, you won't stand up for a bigger cause, and then you bag on other people who do stand up for a bigger cause. If you don't have the balls to stand up and say something, shut the fuck up. I'm moving on. We gotta get into today's show. I got a lot to talk about. I'm so tired of seeing people do things to you gamers, and it hurts me so much because, like I said, the community was never, you know, like this before. It never was. There's so much division. It's ridiculous, but now the government is stepping in. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for sending me information. Lots of information today. Let's get into this. All right, guys. The government, we're not starting off with EA. The government is learning how to hack consoles. That's right, they're learning how to hack consoles now. So you guys, I don't know if you have anything to hide or not, but you need to be careful now. All right, I don't have anything to hide online, but just the fact that I know that the government is trying to hack consoles to catch up is ridiculous. And I say catch up because hackers have hacked consoles for God knows how long. The government is just now trying to learn how to do it. Once again, 10 steps behind. I don't understand it. But I want to talk about this a little bit more because speaking of, you know, things that happen within consoles or just in the community in general, okay, guys? Xbox chat, you guys know by now, Xbox chat leads to a violent attack in Oakley. And you know what? as far as I'm concerned, there needs to be some personal responsibility to this. And of course, when something like this happens, they blame the games. I'm not going to get on that just yet. I need to talk about this because why is it always that when something like this happens, the person who has instigated it and the person who has become aggravated, they're never blamed. They're never blamed. No, there's no personal responsibility. Nothing happens, all right? But you want to blame the game. I put it like this. When something like this happens and someone does not know how to act online, that should be an automatic ban. Why did it get to that point? If a person is trolling the ever-loving shit out of somebody, guess what? 9 times out of 10, he's done it 1,000 times before that. Or she or whoever has done it 1,000 times before that. Why is there so much immaturity in online gaming? Oh, I forgot. Because it's not like the arcades anymore. You can't stand next to each other and do that. Because you know and I know if you got that nasty, somebody's not going to take that. Somebody's going to punch you in the face. You know that and I know that. The anonymity on the internet it's the worst thing that has ever happened. Like I said, back then, I remember in the 90s, back then, yeah, this is when we had AOL, all right? Back then, we didn't have these problems. Why? Because the rest of the internet was cool, and if people wanted to act like idiots, they had their own place for it. And for those who remember AOL back in the day, they had like their own chat rooms where people can just go and just curse each other out. They could vent and get out of the way. That's what they did, you know what I mean? But it was never on a grand scale like this these days. You left the gate, it's pretty much who the hell left the gate open? That's pretty much what you gotta ask yourself, all right? Now, both people are in the wrong. They're definitely in the wrong, okay? But once again, it's being taken off of them. The responsibility is being taken off them and on the video games. And I'll talk about this because Police Commissioner Andrew Scipione says that violent games incite kids to crime. You've got to be kidding me, right? So it's violent video games. It's not the economy. It's not, you know what? I'm going to talk about this. And I should do a standalone video about this because I got to talk about you people that are down in the hood, okay? I understand. Because if you ever talk to anybody, the first thing out of their mouth is, you know, why don't you care about certain things in your neighborhood? The first thing out of their mouth will be, you know, well, no one cares about us. Why should we care about them? That's the first thing you hear when you're down there, okay? So they have their own set of rules and everything. But you people down there, I completely understand that people outside of the, you know, of the ghetto or in poor areas, they don't care about you because it's not them. They don't care about you. I understand that. But what you have to do is take some responsibility and clean up your neighborhoods. You have to work from the inside out. You understand that, right? You have to prove, and I understand you're saying I shouldn't have to prove to people, but you have to prove to people that you're worth a damn. That's the problem. That is exactly the problem. And you can't sit around and act like you're the fucking man and, oh, I got this car and I got these women, I got these clothes. That shit don't mean nothing. You can't take it with you when you go. You understand that, right? This is, you have to understand, guys, that when something like this is said, it's such a broad statement because the police commissioner is not focusing on the environments, you know what I mean, the anger from people, you know, the raping, the killing, the molesting, the robbing, seriously. You gonna tell me video games have caused all this? You understand that there were big violent crimes and riots and things of that nature before video games? You understand that, right? I don't understand. You know, it also comes down to the police as well. Because the police have a responsibility to protect and serve, and yet we don't see that enough. We don't see enough patrol cars. We don't see enough, you know, we see cops just beating the ever-loving hell out of people for no reason. There's so many things that go wrong within human beings. Within human beings. Nobody wants to take responsibility, but they sure as hell will blame somebody, won't they? There will always be someone, a finger to point at somebody. It's ridiculous, man. But I want to talk about the positive of gaming since that idiot came out and said that, because video games are under development to treat ADHD. That's right. Now, that's a good thing. I understand a lot of people are going to be a little sketchy about that due to the fact that we have seen since, what, the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, we saw just all of a sudden an explosion of, you just have ADHD. You know what I mean? They would just write down, you have ADHD. I remember when someone acted hyperactive when we were in school, they just told them, you know what, calm down, sit down, go sit in the corner, or put your head down. Relax. That's all you got. There was no, oh, well, I gotta go to the nurse because I have a headache and I need some medicine. Nope. Lay your ass, you know, lay your damn head on the desk and just lay there. It was the same thing with when heat came in, when summer, because we didn't have air conditioning in our schools, okay? But when it was hot, they didn't shut down the school. You know, we didn't get days off for that. No, you had to go to school, and guess what? If it was too hot, put your head on the desk. That was the answer to everything. Put your head on the desk. And you had to sit there and you had to tolerate it. That's what you had to do. It's the same thing with the snow in the winter. And this is what kills me, because I remember, was it last winter? Temple students, college students, all right, were getting days off. The snow is too deep for us to go to the school. They live 2 blocks away from Temple. from the college. You've got to be kidding me, right? Well, we're not going to go today. It's going to be shut down. Man, I remember when we had to walk. Yeah, I'm going to sound old. That's what it sounds like right now. Back in our time, I mean, seriously, we had to walk miles to get to school because the school buses or other forms of transportation couldn't get through the streets. You know what I'm saying? There was no plowing that much. They had plows, but they weren't doing it on a regular basis like they do now with salt and all that type of stuff. No, we had to walk. It was that simple. And you better not be late either. All right? That's what it came to. Because you got an ass whooping when you came home if you didn't. That's another thing that parents don't do these days. I don't understand it. So I have to ask you, new generation, because like I said, why are you become so soft? And I know you're going to get mad at me and do whatever. You know what? I'm going by the examples that I see. Why are you so soft? You want to say that you're real. You want to say that you're the man. You want to say that you hard. You know, you about as real as it gets. You don't like to be disrespected. Yet, I see the complete opposite. I don't understand this. You want the truth. I give you the truth. I give you honesty. And that's not enough, is it? You know what? It's just ridiculous. Anyways, I got to talk about this. GamerCon. That's right. Raises over 14,000 in 2 days. And I want to put it like this. I want to say congratulations to them because that's a very staggering number for 2 days. But I want to put it like this. All right, because there's a lot of we're going to talk about this next week, guys. All right, or next week or next time I do a gaming video. A lot of articles, rash of articles have come out now slamming gay gamers. Okay, because of this. And I understand where they're coming from, and I want to explain this. All right, because I don't want to use certain keywords that'll piss people off because it's not right. But you gay gamers, we have to have a talk, okay? Let me get something straight. Why do you need your own con? You always complain about being hated. You always complain about not fitting in with the rest of the crowd. You always complain that you're not treated normal. Yet when you have these type of cons, you actually exclude yourself from the rest of the gamers, which means you're hurting your own cause. I don't understand this. One of you please explain it to me. I don't understand this, and I know before anyone comes running in here, well, black folks have their own thing. Yes, we do, and it's also wrong. I can't tell you how many times I have said that BET does not help black people. Actually, it just exploits them even more. But I don't know. I just want to find out why that you think that you can sit and complain about not being treated normally because you deserve the same rights as everyone else, but then you go and do something like this. I understand you want to meet other people that are just like you, but that's what gamers are for, and that's what you're not understanding. People who are just like you, that's why games have been around so long, because we all share the same hobby. So just because you have a difference in attraction between men and women doesn't mean that we still can't be friends, because you know that you have that. You play a game, I play a game. It does not matter. I don't care. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're black, white, green, purple, female, animal. I don't give a shit. If anything, that is what games have told us for time and time again. That's what they have taught us. Tolerance between races, creeds, genders. That's what it has taught us. Yet, we still see this divide. I don't understand. And you have to understand that that divide, that's money. But like I said, you guys don't want the truth. You don't. I'm going to move on because I want to talk about EA. That's right. EA, apparently, their stockholders are pissed off. Their stockholders came out and said, you sit here and you say that EA is always doing good, the company is great and everything, but yet, where's our money? If the company was doing good, where's our money? And EA's pretty much like, maybe next year? Like, that's not good enough, EA. There's a reason you are the worst company in America. Until you start giving your shareholders back their money or start to see some profits, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. It's that simple. Now, I also want to move on because EA is desperate to include Origins on the Wii U. Nintendo, please, by all means, do not make this deal with them. You have to understand that EA is trying to corner the console market when it comes to Origins. That's what it comes down to grow their user base so that they can grab more stocks. That's what it comes down to. Understand that they are taking a page out of who? Steam's book. That's what they did with Origins. Did they not? Now, I want to put it like this. We saw in the previous couple weeks, EA has taken shots at Steam. That's right. Now it's competition. We've seen this with EA time and time again. They'll do something that someone else has done and then bag on that competition. We saw it with Call of Duty not too long ago, did we not? And then when Call of Duty started breaking in big numbers, EA tried to backtrack and say, we really didn't want the competition, things of that nature. We want to clear the air. That's what they do. They rely on drama. They rely on just angering people, saying, erroneous statements, and people eat it up. I don't know why. Do you not have enough drama in your life that you need to cause drama online? That's what I have to ask. And that goes for every clown who decides to rig drama or stage drama or whatever. It goes for all of you. When you have to stage drama, that tells me you're pathetic. That's what it tells me. Now, I want to move on because EA, once again, sues, Zynga. And gamers are telling EA to bury them. Yeah, they said, because they hate them, they want to bury them. How about this? How about you both bury each other? Because the gamers will be better off without both of you, as far as I'm concerned. Also, I want to talk about Sony a little bit, because Sony is offering PlayStation scholarships. You're welcome. Also, Sony posts a $312 million loss in the first quarter. That's right, for first quarter 2013, as the game division underperforms. So, Sony, I have to ask you this. How's that online pass working for you? I just want to know. No, maybe we should ask other companies how things are working for them, as far as I'm concerned. So, let's put it like this. Ubisoft, how's your DRM going? Oh, wait, uPlay DRM Leaves Gamers open to hacks. That's right. So it goes to show you that you can't go with that. Also, oh no, Blizzard, how are things going with Diablo 3 with your auction system? Oh, I forgot. There's a problem. Because Diablo 3 trade scams have to be patched now. That's right. See, it goes to show you that when you try to make all these little features and things for your money concerns, it doesn't go well. It doesn't. But that's not all, guys. That's right, because Microsoft, all right, they patented the application to take Kinect into mobile cameras and movie making. Now, guys, you know and I know, after the report that came out with Kinect on how they're watching you, all right, they have it set up so they know how to sell things to you. They are constantly watching you when the Kinect is on. Now you want to bring it to mobile cameras and movie making? Guys, this is dangerous. I really hope, and you gotta think, these are people who bought the Kinect. They're not just gamers. You also have families who let their kids play these type of things, and they're watching your kids. Yes, this is a big deal. And you know what? Speaking of kids, I want to take a break. That's right, because for those who have not seen it yet, I want to show you guys. Let's see how today's kids react to playing the Commodore 64.
Hi, I'm Matt Allen and I'm here today at the secondary school with one purpose. I want to convince the kids of today that the machine I grew up with, the Commodore 64, is as great as it ever was, 30 years on. This is a machine that I played in my teenage years. Along with the Sinclair Spectrum, it was the computer to have in the 1980s. It had lots of interesting features and bugs, as they're known. It was loading fine when I tested it at home. What was so excellent about the Commodore 64 at the time was it had great graphics, great sound, and great games to go with it as well. Now, I tried to convince some primary school kids a little while ago that it was still as relevant today as before, with some mixed success. Everything that you want is contained within this box, like a laptop. Any ideas what you think this might be? In unison? What do you think it is?
Isn't it the remote?
The remote? You recognise what one of these are?
Yeah.
Then I'm mildly impressed actually then.
Does
TV.
that connect to this?
Yes.
Does this connect onto here by using that? But I don't get how that connects onto that, or does that not connect?
It does, they do not
connects to
connect.
that and that connects to that. So
Yeah.
this is kind of a complicated version of PS2 or something.
Yeah. And when we tried loading, we ran into that perennial 80s problem of loading errors.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, something went wrong when trying to load the game there, so... Shift key...
Is it supposed to do that?
By the time that we'd managed to get the game to load, I'd lost half my audience.
51, 52, 53. While you're waiting, could you listen to music and
Dance along to it.
dance along to it as well?
Yes. So let's hope today's experiment with secondary school kids goes a little more smoothly. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Anyone hazard a guess what this might be?
The controllers.
Joystick.
It is the joystick, yes. Anyone care to guess what that might be?
Just a graphics to video or for the screen or...
Not quite.
Is that where you put the game
Yes, it is. Yes, it is actually on a cassette. So this would be an example of a game that would be released on the system. This is called Buggy Boy. You could actually load off the tape, and it would take an inordinate amount of time, unfortunately, if we switch the machine on. About the only time you switch on a machine and want to see a blue screen. Anyone hazard a guess as to how you tell it to load the game?
You sort of like type it in. And
Correct. What do you think you might actually type in?
load.
Correct. It was as simple as that. And away it would go. Loading games in the 80s taught you patience.
So this is before the loading screen.
Yes.
It's loading the loading screen.
Correct, yes. A few games even gave you a little game to play while you were waiting, so that alleviated the boredom. And it's loaded. Yay! Praise the Lord.
I don't think it was that different from normal games. I mean, the graphics were a lot worse.
The controller, I had a little bit of difficulty with it. I was just inexperienced, I guess.
It's different to modern consoles because there's only one button and joystick on this one, whilst modern consoles have sort of loads of buttons which you have to try and remember what they do.
It's not really amazing on our point of view. Well, it's good. But like, for them, it must have been pretty incredible.
You have no idea how much I remember that game and playing that game. Man, I'm telling you, those were great times. And, you know, the kids are just like, oh, where's all the buttons and all this? Yep, that's how it was for us. You either adapted to the hard gameplay. It took forever to load. So when you hear about loading time and, oh my God, this is why in this generation, sometimes you just have to have patience. And I can understand how loading times can really piss people off. I understand that. But when you play these old games, you build a tolerance for them. You really do. Now, I understand with all the advanced technology, you shouldn't have to wait that much for loading times. I get what you're saying, all right? But guys, come on, let's be real here. Sometimes you just gotta tone it down a notch. You really do. So, anyways, I want to move on because we gotta talk about this. THQ, you guys had sent me a lot of messages not too long ago about WWE 12, and you're very upset about the online portion of it. And I got a lot of messages about this. But THQ is asking for further feedback now for WWE Games online servers. The link will be in the info bar for you guys, so you can give some feedback to them. They want to know. They simply want to know. Now, I'm going to move on as well because China's online game companies are trying to break into overseas markets. You know what that means? We all know China and Korean MMOs and things of that nature, they go free to play. If they break into this market, you can expect free to play to happen more often. You can. It is a better money maker than pay to play. I don't know how many times I've shown you facts and things of this nature. Seriously, I hope this works because then the new standard will be complete. If they keep pushing out free-to-play games, quality free-to-play games, you don't have anything to worry about. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. But I want to talk about 2K for a minute because they call for photorealism in games. First off, you don't need photorealism. I don't know why people are. You cannot just be happy with what you have. You always want more, more, and more. It's not about exploring endless possibilities. No. You're doing this because you're stripping down the rest of everything else. Seriously, I can't tell you how many people have complained about your basketball games. You won't fix your basketball games. You won't even fix the online portion of your basketball games. You have a lot of problems, but yet you're still worried about photorealism. That is not what you should be worried about right now. All right? The games are made to be fantasy. You don't need them to be, they don't need to look like life. That's the reason why we play games. Don't you understand that? But you know what? Let's just keep moving. All right, GameStop. Gotta talk about this. GameStop is they're talking about selling used digital games. They want to get into that market. I told you guys that this would happen. First, it started overseas, right? And everyone was like, "Well, we'll see if it happens domestically. We'll see. You know, this may not go anywhere." Well, now it is. GameStop wants in. All right, it's that simple. They want in, which means I told you before when I did that standalone video. Digital games for companies have always been a one-way cash system for them. As a consumer, if you bought physical, you had the right to either sell that game or return that game if you didn't like it. They're not giving you the same rights as you had with physical games digitally. That's the problem. They need to upgrade their services. If they can't, then don't buy from them. It's really that simple. I'm going to talk about that later too. All right? But also, there's a nice little write-up for you guys if you don't know what happens with used games. exactly what happens to your physical used games when you trade them in, you know, cash for points or whatever you do with them. All right, there's a nice little write-up about it, exactly how the process works with GameStop and how they pretty much make out every time. Anyways, the CEO of GameStop, Paul Raines, says that hardcore gamers love GameStop. They love it. No, they don't. All right, because I'll put it like this: ever since, and I'm going to go back before GameStop was around. All right, when you were just electronics boutique. All right, everyone knew. For years and years, before you bought out Funko Land and all those other places, all right, and then called it GameStop to make it look like two different divisions when it's actually under Electronics Boutique still, yeah, still the same company. They're just trying to give you, the illusion of that you have variety in gaming stores when you don't. All right, let's get that straight. Now, we talked about this before. I believe I talked about this before. How they'll trade. You'll give you. You'll bring in your game, right? They'll give you as less as possible for that game and then mark it up to this roof. You know what I mean? They'll mark it all the way up, and then what you have to do is you have to pretty much suck it up. Which makes no sense to me, because people keep doing this. You think that, oh, well, these games, you know, they're dwindling in value. It's not that they dwindle in value, guys. You have to understand that that's what you're willing to accept. And you shouldn't be, you know, accepting that. That's crazy. If they cannot give you an adequate price for the games, you guys are gamers. You know how much a game goes for and what it doesn't. All right? Sell it on eBay. Sell it on Amazon. Something. But you'll get more money that way than you would at GameStop. Don't tell me they're going to give you $20 for a game and turn around and sell it for $45. That's crazy. All right? But they don't want to give you the fair treatment that you deserve when it comes to your pricing, and yet you still go there. How many times have you heard, I traded in 10 games and I got one? Like, you're serious. And I'll put it like this: if the games really dwindle that much in value, then guess what? They shouldn't be charging $60 a pop for them at jump. They shouldn't. If they dwindle that quickly. Just saying. Anyways, I want to move on because rumor is that Bethesda gets Stalker rights. That's right, they got Stalker. But we'll see what happens with Bethesda. I know a lot of people are angry at Bethesda right now, and you should be, especially for what, you know, the exclusivity of what's going on with Skyrim. Now, I want to talk about this because we all knew that, you know, I'll put it like this. Anyone who thinks that this Skyrim DLC is exclusive to Microsoft because, you know, for whatever reason contract they made, obviously you've been out of the loop. They've done this with Morrowind, they've done this with Fallout, I believe. I mean, New Vegas, and whatever. All right, we've seen DLC come down the line, and then only Microsoft gets it. And then say, especially with Fallout 3, oh, the real ending is coming, and then only Microsoft got it. And then when PlayStation gamers complained about it so much, they had to make a Game of the Year edition with that DLC tacked onto it. So then you had to go out and buy the game again just to get the real ending. You know what I mean? Like, it was ridiculous, everything that happened. That's why it's best to wait on Bethesda games. And now, of course, they're doing it with Skyrim. They did this with Morrowind not too long. What was it Shivering Isles? Where at one point you didn't have DLC yet for the PlayStation 3. Microsoft got it first. Then later it came to the PS3. So it's whatever deals that they have. And you know what? I'm very upset with Microsoft that they keep making these deals, especially in these days and times. I understand that people are going to have exclusive games because it's first party. But when you start buying DLC separately and putting that exclusivity behind it, that's crazy. I understand that's all business, but it hurts gamers down the long run. I understand you want them to buy your system to play it on because you have this stuff, but no. All right, and Sony was guilty of this too for a very long time. So it's not like I'm taking sides here, but you have to understand that in these days and times, these companies should know better. They should, especially you should know that you can attract more flies, you know, with honey than you can shit. So you would put it out at the same time as other ones so that you have all these people come in. You know what I'm saying? Unless you think that it's going to build anticipation for the next one. Now, we'll put it like this. All right? It is out for MS, and it is, it has come out for PC. But Sony, you have to wait. And some of you guys are saying, you sent me some messages saying that, you know, with Sony, you know, you'd rather wait because God knows what type of bugs are going through. So, whatever. I understand. All right? Anyways, it's still a bad situation on everything that's going on. Now, I want to talk about this. I want to take a break, actually, all right? Because this is, like I said, reading this news, it really pisses me off. Anyways, let's go back in time. Once again, we're going to throw it back. For those who don't remember your arcade days, remember Superman? You don't? Never seen it? Let's look at Superman in the arcade game. I cannot tell you how many times I played that game when I was a kid in the arcade, and yes, it blows Superman 64 right out of the water. I think it's the best Superman game we've had so far. Hopefully, we get a better Superman game in the future. And I put it like this: these games that I'm showing you, I'm really hoping that there's emulation out there so that the younger generation can see the games that we played when we were younger. All right? For us, it was like a ladder. So I understand if you guys, now don't like it as much because you're up here when it comes to games, and then you're bringing yourself down because of how simple the games were at the time. But like I said, at the time that's all we had, so it was like a ladder for us. Now I want to move on because I have to talk about this. My buddy, Mr. Pack Attack. That's right, Michael Factor. Look, yeah, he's my buddy because I cannot tell you how many times I can make this guy look like a fucking idiot, and yet he keeps running his mouth. Why do people listen to this guy? Listen to this. All right, first off, he says Nintendo should charge $60 for Wii U games. No, they shouldn't. All right? No, they shouldn't. And he's only saying that. I'll tell you exactly why he's saying it. Because he wants to keep the market at a steady level at $60. That's what it is. These guys in business either want to keep that standard and then slightly raise it higher and higher. We've seen this not too long ago, Mass Effect 3 and the new Resident Evil getting ready to come out, this Day 1 DLC. They're trying to get more for their money. That's what it comes down to. So instead of paying $60 for a game, you're actually 9 times out of 10 paying $70, $80 for a game. That's what it comes down to. All right, the market wants to keep inflating, going up and up. When we all know the economy is bad right now, it's not a good thing to do. If anything, like I said, Nintendo should drop it down to, I'd say 40. All right, bring the standard back down and make all these developers look stupid because not every game should cost $60. Fighting games should not cost $60. Games like Hannah Montana should not cost $60. Terminator Salvation, $60. You've got to be kidding me, right? I understand people want to say, well, if you just wait a month or whatever. Yeah, you're right. You should just wait because the price drops down very quickly. You should. But people understand if you're a gamer and you have all these games at your disposal, you're still playing, you don't need to buy something at first day. Not all the time, no. I understand there's probably certain games you want first day, but you do not need to buy every game first day. It is ridiculous, especially now when you have Amazon and Newegg and all these other places who, on first day, actually drop the price lower than $60. But this is them trying to stay afloat with the $60 price tag and move up higher and higher. That's all it is. You should not listen to this guy. But I want to know, Packer, I want to know what happened to your prediction of Star Wars The Old Republic. I mean, you guys saw my video about a month ago where he said, on camera, said that Star Wars The Old Republic won't go free to play. It won't. It won't. It has no shot. And then it does. And I want to know, what did he think about that? Why didn't he just admit he was wrong, right? But no. He doesn't admit that. This is what he comes out and says. Star Wars The Old Republic could generate $150 million, all right, free to play. And then says, free to play generates more money than pay to play. Really? And you are supposed to be in business. You're a professional. How is it that a guy like me can sit on my couch and make these predictions and be right, and you have all these things at your disposal, you have all these businesses and all these credentials and all these, how can I put this, all these types of jobs where you have connections with all these people at your disposal, and you're still wrong? How can you do that? So my question is, why are you still listening to him? That's what I don't understand. Why are you still following him? This guy knows nothing about games. Look, if anything, he should go back into the background and crunch more numbers. He does not deserve to be listened to. Do not follow this guy. Do not listen to this guy. He is leading you down the wrong path. Clearly. Stop this. But gamers, you're still stupid enough to follow him. Still. Don't you understand? Giving him attention is what he wants. It doesn't matter what he says. He just wants to be in the spotlight. That's what it comes down to. He's not there for you. But we'll keep moving on because there's no DLC, no more I should say, planned for Soul Calibur 5. So if you guys are planning on getting Soul Calibur 5, you can either wait for another edition, I'm sure that will have all the DLC on it, or you can start getting now and get your DLC, and you won't have to worry about paying any more for any other new DLC. Now, I want to move on because apparently there's a new price tag that's been revealed for Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn for the PS3. Apparently, they're selling this game at start at $30. That's right, but I believe you still have to pay to play for this game, so I would wait for it to go free to play. I mean, they just got rid of free to play for PC. And I want to talk about this a little bit, all right? Because Final Fantasy XI, you were a lot of years out of date. I understand it's still a great game, but it's time for you to move on to free to play. It really is. I don't know why you were still playing around with the pay-to-play market. I understand you are still successful with your pay-to-play options, but now when the market is changing and everyone around you is actually getting more money, if you do the numbers, it's time to move free to play. It's time to move to free to play. And I want to talk about this a little bit too, because Sony, I'm very much questioning what you're doing with the PS2 games. All right, because as you all know, you can't play PS2 games on your PS3 unless you had an old one, right? And they try to give you a bunch of excuses where the hardware wasn't in. No. All right, now they're trying to code it for their own store. I put it like this: it's a money move. If you don't believe me, if you still have your original Final Fantasy XI disc for the PS2, pop it in your PS3 now and see if it reads it. For me, it does. Popped in my Slim the other day and it reads it. You have to understand that these are the things that happen. Sony is only doing this purposely, all right, to get you to pay more for old games. This is why they're trying to get rid of used games, because they don't want you to play them on the new consoles. They're hoping that you got rid of your PS2. That's what they're hoping. And then try to regurgitate everything so they can get more money. That's all it is. Sony, you should be ashamed of yourself. I want to move on. Viewtiful Joe 3. That's right. It's coming. Apparently, Kamiya says that it's going to come out before Bayonetta 2. Personally, I don't give a damn what Kamiya has to say after what happened last week with Platinum Games, and his arrogance has gone beyond imagination. I don't care what he does at this point. I really don't. It's sad that you would even treat customers seriously. You're telling people that they're not customers until they buy your product, so you've never heard of potential buyers, huh? I'm not going to get into it. It's pathetic that people online have to send me this information because you don't know how to act. I want to talk to you developers real quick and your little Twitters and your little online things. Understand, all right? It is not, when you are a developer online, do you know what that means? That means you are more accessible when it comes to customer service. It is always a business. If you are a developer, you represent a company. That means all the other developers that you have under you or whatever that don't say anything, you represent them as well. And when you start trashing customers, like when people were sending me stuff online about this, understand that you make everybody in your company look bad. You are not a rock star. You make video games. End that. End it. And I don't care who he is. I don't care what they've made. There is no reason to treat people like that. No reason. Anyways, I want to move on. Metacritic, that's right, can do developers out of bonus pay and jobs. BioShock Studio makes Metascore an application requirement now. You have to be kidding me. First off, why do people still believe in Metacritic this much? Why are you so fixated on scores? You know that things can be gouged. You know it can be abused. You know people do things out of spite. Why are you worried about Metacritic? You should be worried about your fan bases. I don't understand where you think that if you get 90s, that means you're automatically going to sell. That doesn't mean anything. That's pushing your ego. That doesn't mean it's going to sell. And we all know there's games that sell that aren't even that good to begin with. So don't give me this crap. It's horrible that you would even put that, BioShock, yeah, you developers, it's horrible that you would put that on an application. I'm saying the developers, but your company in general, your studio. You don't put that on an application as an application requirement. That's horrible. Ridiculous. And no, that doesn't say, oh, well, you have to be really good at your job. That doesn't mean anything, all right? But you're putting pressure on developers that really don't need to be there. That's what it is. It's ridiculous that you would, who'd have thought the day that we'd see companies just come out now and just say, hey, you know what? We really do want scores. I never would have thought that I'd see today, but whatever. Let's move on. Pathetic. Anyways, I want to talk about Capcom. Only thing I'm going to say about Capcom and you gamers, you really disappoint me. Capcom's downloadable sales are higher than projected. This is what has kept them kept them going this far. Now, after all you've seen, all right, I've done my whole thing with Final Fight. I've shown you all the, between the Better Business Bureau and Capcom. You saw how I was treated with that, all right? You saw how many gamers went to the Better Business Bureau or FTC or whatever and jumped all over Capcom for disc lock DLC, and yet you still bought this shit. Are you serious? After all they have said to you, after all they have done, you still went out and supported them. Are you fucking serious? And don't tell me that, but it's part of the game. I need the game. I don't want to hear it. If all you're doing is thinking about yourself, then you know what? Kiss my ass. This is bigger than you. And that's what you fail to realize in your wants. I'm so tired of this. And this is what one of you guys said. They're sitting here celebrating about, the sales higher than projected. And this person says, at the cost of firing employees, studios' their net sales increase due to their Flash browser games monthly. Their net sales can go high, but if their stock isn't moving, there's no point in celebrating on Capcom's side, which I agree. I absolutely agree with that. But people they're not going to look that far. You know what I mean? They're only going to look right there. Their scope. Once again, their scope. It's not broad enough to see that, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, we got to talk about this new Steam agreement. You guys sent me a bunch of stuff about this, and it's ridiculous that they would even do this. So now apparently, you cannot sue them. So Steam is going to take this stance now too. You have to be kidding me. This is, look, I've said it once, I said it before, you cannot take basic rights away from people. You can't, all right? And thing is, Notch came out and said this. He came out and slammed them on it because he said, what do you mean you can choose what lawsuits can go through and what can't? You can't do that. You just can't. You have a law to abide by. I don't care if you put it in your terms of service or whatever. You cannot, all right? It will not stick in court. And I don't care if you just have it out in California where they kiss your ass, apparently, all right? Because you won't go anywhere else and do it unless unless the consumer pays for it. It's ridiculous that this would happen. And the thing is, Valve has come out and says, well, they've come out and said, sorry about this, that you can either accept the new terms of service or agreement, or you can disable your account. And there's actually an article in the info bar for you guys where that will be, where the guy actually talked to these people and said, all right, we'll just remove your account then. How about that? They don't care about you. You made these companies, and so many people say that, you know, you back Valve so much. Well, Steam doesn't do this, and Steam doesn't do that, and Steam is better than whatever. Now you're seeing them fall into the same category as other companies who try to pull this bullshit. But yet, I guess you'll still find a reason to back them and all this too, right? You shouldn't be able to sue companies anyway. People are sue happy. It doesn't matter if people are fucking sue happy. If they're sue happy and you don't have any, any grounds, guess what? The case will get thrown out. That's what will happen. But you have to understand that they are taking rights away from you. That's yours. They're yours. They're there for a reason. All right? But you don't want to hear that. You just don't care. And Gabe Newell, we'll talk about this. Gabe Newell comes out after, after all that, comes out and calls Windows 8 a catastrophe. Now, you guys came out and, messaged me about this, and you said, I don't know if you cover any kind of Microsoft OS related news in any of your gaming videos, but since the Valve management director is involved in this, I figured I'd send it your way. It says, if you take a look at the article, Microsoft is putting Windows Marketplace on their Windows 8 OS. It makes it very accessible. It says, but here's the major downside to this. Windows 8 has something that makes it illegal to buy and download any kind of software through any other application. And in parentheses, it says Steam. It says, other than the Marketplace. It says, unless other platforms have software that are licensed by Microsoft, meaning Steam would be considered illegal by Microsoft among a number of other things such as Sony Vegas. That is a problem that needs to be cleaned up. Don't tell me that's okay. See, this is what I mean. Give them an inch, they take a mile, they make all these new rules, new laws, and you just fall for it. If you guys, I swear to God, just for one fucking day, just take a stance and say, we're not going to do this. It would make a big difference. If you got tired of Microsoft charging you for Xbox Live, and all of you just said, you know what, just for today, none of us will go on Xbox Live to make a statement. You don't think they'd notice? That would be a big problem. And you know what will go on? The people like, well, is Xbox Live down? Is this going on? And Microsoft would try to play all this, this damage control. It would send a statement. It would throw people into panic and chaos. But you're so used to this bullshit, and you just fall for it and you don't care. As long as you get what you want. Fucking pathetic, man. Anyways, taking a fucking break. And I want to show you guys another old school game. That's right. We're going to talk about, for those, I'm sure a lot of you have played this, especially if you've even at a Dave & Buster's, or like if you went to Wawa, like on the boardwalk or something. G.I. Joe, the arcade game.
Mission 1. Yo!
I don't understand why companies still have not seen the potential in these old games. Put them on Live or PSN and then give you online play. What is the problem? What is taking so long that you have not done this yet? And then you wonder why people emulate and do their own thing. And then you get mad at them for doing it. If you give people what you want, you wouldn't have this problem. But I want to move on. I want to talk about you guys' comments this week. All right? Because Star Wars Battlefront 3, apparently there's a Facebook campaign coming out. And it has had the highest, was a campaign so far on Facebook. It has quickly received 5,000 likes. And they're asking me that they could use the extra publicity. It says, I was watching some of your videos, and I have seen that you own Battlefront, and that you like to help promote guys who are trying to get their ideas for helping the gaming community out there. So what I will do is, I will put the link in the info bar for you guys if you're interested on that campaign for Battlefront. Now, also, I have another one here, because apparently Starblind Entertainment has reached out to me, and this is what they said. I'm one of the people working on the fan-made Resident Evil game called Resident Evil Revival. For those who have not seen it, it's pretty much old school elements of Resident Evil. It says we are taking the series back to its roots with this to create an actual survival horror game for the fans who don't like the more action-focused direction of the more recent games. Thank you for doing that, all right? Company's called Starblind Entertainment. I was wondering if you could mention the project in an upcoming video. Link will be in the info bar for that as well, people, all right? It says we have a forum set up for people to discuss the project and ask the development team questions if you have any questions. And they're also open for donations, so just to let you guys know. Now, I also want to move on, guys, because when you guys sent me this message saying, Dear Event, I saw the last video you made about the arcade setting dying. And this summer, as a 15-year-old, I haven't been to too many arcades growing up. Now that I'm older, I try to push my parents into taking me more with them in different places, such as casinos, because of the arcades. I'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. It says, while I was there playing, I met some cool friends in the arcade, fighting game era, some old and some new. It says, and I just hate the fact that when I went onto Xbox Live and I heard a dude trash talk me about playing Mortal Kombat or Tekken, I would just log off and go to the nearest arcade and play with respectful, and it's in capital letters, respectful people. It says, I understand most of us gamers aren't like that, but I truly love to play Tekken at the arcade with other people and talk with them and to say, you know, good game. Basically, from watching many of your videos, I've been in the arcades and I'll never stop going to them. Now, I want to say, you know, I'm happy that, you know, that's helped, and it's good to see that more people are getting out and socializing while playing video games. That's what we did. Like I said, that was our cause. You know what I mean? We all had the same hobby. That was it. You didn't hear anything else at that time. You saw people get angry, you know, if somebody cheated or somebody didn't tell somebody that like a button was broken and they weren't purposely playing on that side and just thought they can pull a fast one on you. So I understand that there's, you know, certain fights, you know, certain rules and things, you know, unwritten rules happen in arcades and fights happen. But other than that, you really didn't hear anybody get nasty with people. It's only this generation is starting to happen. All right, and we've seen this time and time again. People at tournaments cursing people out and carrying after they win and carrying. You gotta be kidding me. Take your loss like a fucking man. That's all it comes down to. I'm tired of, you know what? I don't understand if it's this generation has just overreacted to everything. But you have to understand there are bigger issues to worry about than losing in a fucking fighting game. You've got to be kidding me. If you're going to waste that much time and curse people out over losing a game, you're a fucking idiot. All right, and it has nothing to just do with tournaments. We'll talk about online too. You're a fucking idiot. It's that simple. But you guys did tell me last week after I had mentioned the arcades in Vegas that GameWorks has been taken down. It has. So what I did was I contacted some people not too long ago who went out to Vegas. I believe like a month ago they went. And they actually told me there are still some arcades. I should call them arcades at this point because no one really goes out these days. Arcades that are still around. So let's look at the first arcade. They're only pictures, guys, all right? But it's the EA Sports Bar at the Cosmopolitan. They also sent me another picture of an arcade at the Flamingo. And also, I want to get this right. There's the Gemini Arcade, which is on the southeast side of the Flamingo as well. So there are arcades that are still around. I believe if you do a Google search for arcades in Las Vegas, a bunch of them will come up anyway. Now, I also want to move on because, guys, you guys sent me some more mail. This is an email to Capcom, apparently. This is what someone sent me. It says, this is the email I just sent Capcom. Also got a few co-workers to send it as well. It says, Resident Evil 6 is one of my most anticipated titles of 2012, and I was going to buy it on new on launch day. It says, thanks to your pre-order store exclusive DLC, I decided I am either going to buy the game used and not purchase any DLC, or not buy the game at all. Thank you, Capcom, for helping me save my money. It says, yours truly, a lost sale. That's hilarious, but you know what? Capcom's not going to care. They're not. I told you, they treat their customers like it doesn't matter. Because when one falls off, that's their thing. When one gamer goes, they can grab another gamer. Especially when the thrill of advertising these days. Remember when games didn't really have advertising? And they still have sold, pretty well? Now everything is advertising to hook you. Trailers, commercials, or whatever. Anyways, I'm going to move on. This is the last message of the day. It says, okay, I was in a group on Facebook. Face group, right? It says, and they came across the owner of it saying he was going to buy Medal of Honor Warfighter Day 1 on his PC. It's interesting you'd say that due to the fact that there's a lot of reports out right now saying that there's no demand for Medal of Honor Warfighter. It's kind of a biased articles that I've seen, but it doesn't matter. It says, I felt like commenting saying it would be nice to have the game, but I don't support EA with all their bullshit that they are pulling. Someone asked why, and then I stated that the big reasons were because of their DRM, online passes, and the way they handle their DLC and content. Let's not also forget, guys, that they ban you if you say anything wrong about their game, bad about their game. So, which is another thing, but they're legit, reasons for this person not to want the game. It's not just, oh, I hate EA. So, okay. Then he says, someone gets all defensive when I said that and starts blah, blah, blah. The servers are going to be up for the online passes. I'm going to stop this conversation right there because that's where it should have ended. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. Either he's misinformed or he's lying. We have seen in the past, what, 2 months, EA has taken down online servers for games that are still active. We saw this, the MMA games and all that. We saw all these servers go down with EA, even if you bought it new. So it doesn't matter if it's online pass or not. EA has in their terms of agreement with Origins that it can give you a 3 to 6 month window and then take that server away from you. So I'm not trying to hear that this is something that's going to happen. This guy is talking out of his ass. That's what it comes down to. That's where the conversation should have stopped. But there's more. It says, even though I was stating down the line, and what if it locks out single player content? Which is actually pretty interesting because it did with Kingdoms of Amalur. It says, and that it was on PC with, CD keys for years. It says, even though you can use them multiple times, usually, and possibly find a CD key in a notepad file on the actual disk. I guarantee you, even if you didn't have a CD key, I'm sure you can go online and find a CD key from a torrent or something. But anyways, it says, and DRM isn't a big deal, and I only buy games new herp or derp. This is what the guy's saying, which, like I said, you shouldn't be listening to this guy anyway. It says, basically, he's saying that he doesn't care for anyone but himself, and that he likes to get raped by publishers to do stupid countermeasures. It says, just because publishers want to make more money. And they do that by making us gamers and consumers mad and frustrated with things. That's not all they're doing. Understand, this conversation you're having right now with this guy, you're actually going against each other. You understand that, right? So that means division once again, and they make out on money. Understand that. So pretty much, even though you don't see it coming, that's what they want. They want you to argue. We've seen this time and time again. All right? Time and time again. It's the biggest tactic that's used, and yet people still fall for it instead of identifying it. I don't understand that. How do you think that you're going to get smarter or be more knowledgeable about things if you don't recognize the patterns? How? But keep going. It says, obviously, people hate to have to be online all the time to play a game offline. It says they want to safely buy used games because the used games are cheaper without feeling guilty or angry that content is locked out when they bought it. When they bought it used, and forced to buy another online pass because of it. Don't even get me started on stuff being locked on disc. Just don't. Alright? Anyways, it says they hate having the on-disc DLC and content that isn't in the game or unlockable to be sold to you later on when it should have been in the game in the first place. It says, see how fanboys are these days? Then he goes on about some DLC being useless, so it should have not been unlocked on the disc to play and to be sold to you day one. This is exactly what it says. Alright, it says, what if someone wants the full experience of the game? Now, you know what? That's the sad part. I'm done with this. Because you have to understand, guys, this is how things are going to go until you get angry enough to say, I'm done with it. I'm done. That's what you have to do. You got to tell these companies, look, we're not going to do this. And you have to do it as a collective, too. Now, understand, it is hard to get people to agree with you. I understand just simple conversation, let alone get people to step up for actions. I understand that. But things won't change unless gamers change. Why are you arguing about what game someone else likes and you don't? You know what I mean? Why are you arguing about what the companies are doing. You're not paid by those companies unless you're a paid troll. You're not paid by those companies. You shouldn't have to defend them so passionately. It makes no sense. Without gamers, you wouldn't have games, which means you wouldn't be playing jack shit. So when a gamer has something to say like that and says, oh, well, you should, defend the companies and that's bullshit. All right? You and I both know this. And as far as I'm concerned, those type of people, they either want to stay stupid, and if they do, then you say, hey, they're not gamers, because they don't see the bigger picture. A lot of gamers don't see the bigger picture. But that's just something that has to be worked on. Why do you think I do these videos? And then people jump on me for doing these videos. Whatever, I don't give a fuck. All right? When you want to jump on me for it, and you say, some of them say, oh, it's so easy to do how he does the videos. Okay, well, then you do it. I'll be the audience, you be the magician. Show me what you can do. Exactly. I don't want to hear it, man. Anyways, I'm done for the day. Got a lot of videos coming up this week. I'll talk to you, and y'all be safe. And guys, please, start learning what's going on here. Because it feels like I'm saying the same thing over and over, but then when I see these articles, the same things keep happening. I almost feel like I'm a broken record at this point. I'll talk to y'all then. I'm out.